Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So this video is a quick preview for David Benavidez versus Ronald Ellis. This fight goes down this weekend on the 13th of March. And I believe actually this fight is some sort of WBC super middleweight eliminator. Now, I wasn't going to do a preview for this fight, mainly because, let's be honest, it is a mismatch. But David Benavidez is one of my favourite fighters in boxing, certainly my favourite super middleweight, so I thought I would cover it. As we know, going into this fight, David Benavidez was a former two-time WBC super middleweight champion. He never lost those belts in the ring, but he lost those belts due to ill discipline. So first time around he failed a drug test for cocaine, and second time around he obviously missed weight. So Benavidez, he has got a reputation of being ill-disciplined outside the ring, and I think that is fair. He certainly needs to, address that and come in more professional, because ultimately, right now, that is costing him big fights. Of course, if he was the WBC champion, that fight with Caleb Plant would be a lot more likely because it's a unification fight. And of course, Benavidez would also be in the Canelo sweepstakes. So Benavidez's ill-discipline outside the ring is definitely costing him right now, but he's got a chance here in a WBC eliminator to get himself in a good position. Now, Ronald Ellis, his opponents, I've seen a couple of Ronald Ellis fights, and he's okay, but nothing really to write home about. I would describe Ronald Ellis as a basic kind of pressure fighter. He's very methodical, likes to come forward behind his high guard. He'll try and crouch low, use a bit of head movement. He'll try and use that jab to get inside, and then he'll unload with some hooks. And he'll also throw that overhand right. The problem for Ronald Ellis going into this fight, from what I can tell, first and foremost, he's not exactly the most active guy in the world in terms of punch output. And against David Benavidez, that's always going to be a problem because Benavidez throws a lot of punches. And also, Ronald Ellis is not the biggest puncher in the world, from my estimation. And when you've got a guy in David Benavidez who is naturally bigger, he throws more punches, he's faster, he hits harder, he's stronger, I think that style that Ronald Ellis brings is going to play into David Benavidez's hands. On paper, I see Ronald Ellis as a guy who will more than likely make David Benavidez look pretty good, quite frankly. Again, I'm not all that impressed with Ronald Ellis. I don't think he's close to world level. I would say he's like a domestic level fighter in the USA. Does the basics well, nice hooks, decent enough jab, but there's nothing really there that makes you go wow. There's no crazy power or hand speed or insane boxing ability. Nothing like that. He's just straight up and down, no special effects, as Floyd would say. So Ronald Ellis going into this fight, I have to be honest, I don't really give him a chance whatsoever. I've seen Ronald Ellis fight a couple of times, maybe 3 times actually. I saw his fight with Matt Korobov. He won that fight by a 4th round retirement from Korobov. He only won that fight because Korobov got injured. He was losing that fight. He also fought Emmanuel Elim, and he won that fight by a majority decision. Bear in mind, Emmanuel Elim, in my opinion, is a bit of a gatekeeper. So he's kind of just about getting past gatekeeper level. And that really goes to show what level Ronald Ellis is at. He also lost to DeAndre Ware a couple of fights back as well. So, yeah, Ronald Ellis is basically like a fringe level guy, a domestic level guy in the USA. Whereas to me, David Benavidez is a really good talent. Yeah, his discipline is in question, but he brings a lot of good attributes to the table and a lot of raw potential. Hand speed, power, combination punching. He's a big dude for 168, And I think he's going to go through Ronald Ellis like a doorway, quite frankly. And let's be honest, David Benavidez, he really needs to put on a good performance to make people talk, because he's being forgotten about due to his own ill-discipline, right? He's given Caleb Plant an excuse to duck him because he's got no title now, and I don't think Caleb Plant wants anything to do with David Benavidez. Jamal Charlo was talking all that talk. Now all of a sudden, Jamal Charlo appears to have got cold feet. First, Charlo said he would go to 168 and knock out David Benavidez. When Benavidez responded, Jamal Charlo said, well, you've got to get vaccinated first and let's fight at a catch weight. So in my opinion, a lot of these guys don't want anything to do with David Benavidez. But the problem is, Benavidez has given these guys a reason to avoid him. Even Canelo Alvarez, now I'm not saying Canelo's ducking him, but I didn't really hear Canelo say he wanted to fight Benavidez when Benavidez held that title. So a lot of guys in that division see something in Benavidez they don't like. That's just my opinion. I see a lot of raw potential in Benavidez. Of course he makes mistakes. He's a young guy. He's very raw, like I said. And yeah, he does leave openings and he needs to improve. But I'm telling you, I think there is something special in David Benavidez. I really do believe that. And this kid's a fighter. This kid is a real fighter. Is he a cokehead? Maybe. But he's psycho-bred. This is a guy who sparred Gennady Golovkin at 15. I know David Benavidez did not have a great amateur background, but he's been sparring world-class pros for years, ever since his mid-teenage years. I actually believe Benavidez only had 15 amateur fights. So there's no amateur background there. But this kid basically has been training like a pro ever since he started boxing. He's been sparring pros in the gym from a very young age. And sometimes that can be more valuable than amateur fights. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Everybody develops differently in their careers of boxing, you know. And I see a real fighter in David Benavidez mentally. When this guy talks about Canelo, I don't hear that same attitude in regards to that fight. Guys like Billy Joe, Kovalev, Danny Jacobs, Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith, these guys are just acting like they're happy to be there. Benavidez, on the other hand, he said he's going to earn his shot and knock out Canelo. I don't hear these other guys talking like that, with that fire, with that real self-belief. And I know it's only words, and he needs to get a lot more professional in his approach, because that is letting him down right now. But like I say, I see fire in Benavidez. I think this kid really wants to fight. I think he'll fight anybody at 168. And in my opinion, he's a tough fight for anybody at 168. Listen, I'm more than likely biased. I am biased. I'm a David Benavidez fan. I believe in his talents. But, you know, I think the kid is a very good fighter. And I think he's a real fighter as well. I really do. But I could be completely wrong. Maybe this guy gets fucking demolished when he steps up. But I like what I see in Benavidez. I like him as a person. He's made mistakes. But every time I see this guy in an interview, he's always respectful, but confident. And I like the way he carries himself outside the ring. He's making his mistakes, as we all do. I'm hoping he can learn from them. If he can, kid's going to be a problem, you best believe it. But anyway, share your thoughts below. What do you make of this fight? I think Ronald Ellis is going to get beat up. But we'll see. Share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy. Peace.